This engine is Her Majesty the Queen of Steam, the Norfolk and Western J-Class 611. This model is from MTH, and it is their later Proto Sound 3 Spirit of Roanoke model. It is an impressive model with tons of features, which I will be showing you today. The 611 has quite a bit of history, but for this video I'll be giving a brief history. The 611 is a Norfolk and Western 484 J-Class locomotive completed on May 29, 1950, at the Norfolk and Western Roanoke shops. The J-classes were built as a response to the increased demand of passenger travel during the outbreak of World War II. This was especially challenging as the trains had to cross the Blue Ridge Mountains, with especially steep grades in both Virginia and West Virginia. From 1950 to 1958, the 611 and her sisters would be the premier passenger locomotives for the Norfolk and Western until dieselization took over the routes in the summer of 1958. After withdrawal from passenger service, 611, along with the other J's, would be used for local freight service, with the 611 be officially pulled from revenue service in January of 1959. All was not lost, though, for the 611, as later that year, in August, she would be used to pull the Appalachian Power Company employee excursion and 2 farewell to steam excursions. Afterwards, she would be moved into the Roanoke shops and be used as a stationary boiler until her boiler fluid ticket expired in 1960. The 611 was then purchased by the Roanoke City Council and cosmetically restored for display in March of 1963. She was displayed at the new Roanoke City Transportation Museum. In 1970, there was the idea of restoring her and putting her out for excursion service, and after many years, on July 5, 1982, she was back under her own power once more. The 611 continued to do excursion service until December 3, 1994. She was then placed back into storage and put on static display. All was not lost, as in 2011, the now Norfolk and Southern re-implemented their steam program, which led to the speculation of the 611 returning to service. After some testing, it was found that the 611 could be restored to operation, and on June 28, 2013, the Fire Up 611 campaign was launched. After 2 years of work, the 611 would once again move under her own power in 2015, and since then she has been running excursion trains and made frequent visits to Strasburg. As of now, in the year 2023, she is currently back home on display at the Virginia Museum of Transportation, with no plans for any excursions at the moment. The locomotive comes in a large black box with the MTH HO logo in orange. On the short sides, you have the photo of the model plus general product info, while on the long sides you have the SEM MTH logo. You open the box by lifting the lid up, and inside you will find the loco and tender separately packed. To get them out, simply pull out the plastic clear boxes, then slide them out of the box. Next is to pop the tab off, and you will have access to the loco. Also included in the box is extra smoke fluid, parts for a front coupler, parts for an automatic tender coupler, a side rod screwdriver with extra traction tires, and a set of wheels without traction tires to replace the wheels with traction tires. The locomotive is made of die-cast with a few plastic parts. Since the locomotive is mostly streamlined, there are very few detail parts seen. The locomotive is painted entirely black. That being said, running across the loco, we have the iconic Tuscan red and yellow gold stripe, with the number 611 roughly in the center. On the cab of the loco, the window is painted in the same shade of yellow, with the Spirit of Roanoke printed clearly. Other decorations include a printed J on each piston, printed builder plates on each side, and the silver stripes on top of the smoke box. Starting out on the bottom of the locomotive is pretty quiet when it comes to detail. The driving wheels are all painted black, except for the outer tire being left unpainted. The leading wheels are also unpainted. The trailing truck is made of plastic, and the wheels are unpainted. One of my main gripes with both MTH and Broadway Limited is the unpainted wheels. You pay so much, and yet they can't be bothered to do so, while Bachmann is able to do so. Moving on, the side rods are a beautiful silver color that really catches the eye. The pistons are made of metal, while the piece holding the rods and the valve gear is made of plastic. Below and underneath the wheels, we have separately applied brakework, and in the back, below the cab, we have a mixture of plastic and metal pipework. From the middle to the front, we have a few separately applied plastic pumps, and finally below the front of the left side of the loco, we have the bell. The boiler is one die-cast metal piece, adding a lot of weight to the loco. Starting at the front of the smoke box, we have the headlight, lighted number boards, and a handrail. On the bottom, we have some etched grills and steps. The coupler in the front can be swiveled open, but it is a non-operating coupler. For an operating coupler, you'll have to replace it with the spare provided in the box. Be advised it will not be able to swivel open or close. At the top, we have two marker lights made of metal, and they do light up. The main body of the boiler doesn't have much going on, but there is molded rivet and sheet detail. On the top of the running board, we have a fully etched walkway. The top of the boiler, we have more molded rivet detail and molded hatches. We also have separately applied valves and other parts, and in the back we have the whistle. Finally, in the back of the loco, we have the cab. Inside the cab, we have a molded backhead, but we have some separately painted gauges. The interior of the cab is also painted green, like the real locomotive. We also have two factory-installed crew members, and also in the back, we have a separately applied green curtain and handrails. On the outside of the cab, we have separately applied handrails, and on the top of the roof, we have opening cab vents. Trailing behind the loco, we have the tender. Like the loco, the tender is made of die-cast and features the same black with Tuscan red and gold-yellow stripe. We also have the Norfolk and Western printed nicely in the same gold-yellow. On the front of the tender, we have fully molded rivets, hatches, and door details. There are also a few separately applied handrails. On the top, we have some text printed in the same yellow. At the back of the tender, we have the backup light with a silver outline. We also have a ton of separately applied handrails, a ladder, and at the bottom some brakework. There is also more tender printing in yellow, and on the top of the tender, we have a molded coal load in plastic. Behind the coal, we have a ladder, toolbox, rivet detail, and the water hatch. The water hatch can come off to reveal two screws for smoke and sound. Turn the left for volume, and the right for smoke. On the bottom of the tender, we have the trucks molded in plastic, but nicely detailed. The floor has separately applied brakework, and some molded wood boards. There's also a switch for either running DCC or DCS, but since I only have DCC, I won't be able to show off the other system. As for sounds, the locomotive features an accurate whistle and bell. There are also crew chatter and some special announcements for the 611.
Plenty of steam.
She's in good shape.
Swing that spout over.
I'm gonna blow her down. Clear?
Clear.
Today we're standing next to Norfolk Southern Engine 611, the Spirit of Roanoke. This is the homecoming trip from the North Carolina Transportation Museum in Spencer, North Carolina, where the engine was restored. Our destination is the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia. Today is May the 30th, 2015, and our trip will start at approximately 8 a.m. Our departure time is exactly 8:12. We leave the station pulling 17 cars with 200 people on board, including Wick Moorman, CEO of the Norfolk Southern Railroad. As we travel down the Norfolk Southern Main Line, we'll be passing through the various towns and cities of Lexington, High Point, Greensboro, Danville, Alta Vista, Lynchburg, and Blue Ridge. At Lynchburg, we'll make a stop to pick up 200 more guests and take on water in the tenders. At Roanoke, we'll hear remarks from Norfolk Southern Chairman of the Board, Wick Moorman. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the sights and sounds of this historic trip.
The chuffing sounds are not the best, though, but the locomotive does feature synchronized smoke. locomotive also has a few lighting features. On the front of the loco, we have a lit headlight and number boards. We also have lit marker lights in the front, which is a feature that is not often seen. In the back of the locomotive, we also have a working cab light. On the tender, we have a working backup light. The locomotive and tender can be connected by what I consider the best connection system. Just simply take the two pins at the back of the loco and place them in the slots in front of the tender. The coupling is nice and tight, and there are no wires to worry about. On a final note, I find that the decoder in my loco can sometimes be a little glitchy, as sometimes it will perform the wrong functions when selected on the controller. For example, sometimes when pressing F12 to stop the smoke, it will instead play the grade crossing, which is F11. So that you see how the model looks, let's get her running. For this, I have a set of Norfolk and Western coaches from MTH for my 611. And that was the MTH Norfolk and Western 611. It is definitely one of the better models of the Queen of Steam, and it is one of my favorites in my collection. If you want one of these models, unfortunately you'll have to look at eBay. That being said, since Scale Trains have bought MTH's tooling, they have shown they are currently working on making the J-Class model, so you can look forward to this model in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.